Well, hello and welcome to tonight's live stream. In this video, we will be hopefully finishing up the live e-commerce series. What we're going to focus on tonight first is a quick bug fix. We do have a bug that's breaking, and I've had a few of you guys leave me comments and let me know about it. So we're going to fix that first. It's literally a 2-character fix, so it's a very simple fix. It was a little harder to track down. But it was a typo on my end, and so basically, one thing we're kind of missing in this e-commerce store, we're missing a lot of things. I mean, we're not going to build a fully functional site because that would just take a really long time. But hopefully, what we've learned is the principles that you could take what we've already done and add to it. With all of the things that you've already learned, and basically do about any feature that you want without too much problems. But what I've had a lot of requests for, and what we haven't done yet, is some products they need options. So for example, if I'm buying a t-shirt or selling a t-shirt online, I need to be able to have different sizes to sell that t-shirt, like a small, medium, large, extra large, and that sort of thing. The other thing that we need to do is, and this would be kind of a perfect opportunity to package it together, is we need to have the ability to have a inventory. So basically, we put how many we have available for each product and for each option, and when someone purchases that, it will decrement that inventory count. And once it gets down to zero availability, we don't want to be showing that on the website any longer. Now, I will be very quick to admit that doing the options and the inventory tonight is very ambitious, and I don't know for sure that we'll get that done. It also has the potential to get pretty complex because it will touch a lot of code. There will be some more some things that we'll have to add to our queries and things like that in various places. So this will be a very complex night, but I have not worked on this at all ahead of time. So my goal is just to jump right in and get it done, and we'll see how far we get. If we finish tonight, we finish tonight. There's a possibility that if we're close, I'll shoot a supplemental video, just record one and add it to the playlist at a later date. But if we don't even get close, then we will, by necessity, have to have one more live stream to finish that up. But that is the goal, and so that is what we're going to do. So I have a few comments here. Give me a second to read those. Caprep says, may I take some time to really appreciate you for the series, and may God grant you blessings abundantly for what I have gained from your various series, including the framework. Thank you very much, and I'm thrilled that it has helped you, and I hope that it continues to help you, and I hope that you continue to grow as a developer. All right, Charles, I don't know, bonjour, Curtis from Côte d'Ivoire. Sorry if I butchered that. I'm assuming that's French-speaking country, so hello. Denise says, we are so here and awake. All right, Denise, well, tonight's your night because we are doing options and inventory, so we can add sizes and whatever else. So without any further ado, since tonight's going to be a very in-depth and possibly complex night, and I don't even know if we can get it done, let's just skip a lot of the formalities. And I know a lot of you guys, if you've already done 16 videos with me in this series, you kind of know what's going on. But you can get the as always, you'll be able to get the branch from for the source code from my Bitbucket account. So that's just Parham Curtis / well, just go to Parham Curtis, and then you'll find the live e-commerce repo. Khalil, hello. Oh no, Khalil had some health issues. Sorry, buddy. All right, man. Well, I hope you do well, and I hope you your health issues get straightened out. So have a wonderful night. All right, let's do this, peeps. All right, let me change over to my screen. And let's just talk about the bug fix first. So if I go into the back end here into the admin area and I go to products, this will break at any point when I try to edit any of these. So if I click on edit or I try to view it or whatever, we do have an error here, and it's not a very descriptive error because it looks like there's a problem with our DB class. That's not actually true. The DB class is fine, and so is the model class. What the problem is that what I've done is I have just basically a typo, and it caused the query to break. So if you guys have encountered this bug, I know a lot of you have commented, if you've encountered this bug and you tried to figure it out, you probably looked at the DB class on line 32, which is a great place to start, and notice that it is just looking for a count for the parameters. Now, and I'll show you why it's broken real quick. So if you go to the app models brands.php, so we are in the brands model. If you go down to line 35, at least it's line 35 for me, I have this area here where I'm checking if the user ID is not empty, then we're going to add the conditions to search by user ID and also bind this user ID value. Now the problem is that right here on this bind, this will actually override the bind parameter, or this will not actually be an array. So bind actually is expected to be array. So what we need here is just opening and closing square braces, and that's it. And what that will do is create an array or add to the array this user ID. So that is the fix for the bug that I caused in the last video, or the video before that, or whenever. So now if I refresh, the page does load and the brand is listed here. So all is well with that. So now that we have that bug fixed, we'll be able to add a new product. So what I'm going to do, just for purposes of, I don't want to mess up any of my other products, but what I want to do is have the ability for my products to have options or not have options. And so let's go ahead and look at the database. So what I'm thinking is, in order to do this, we're going to have to do quite a bit of stuff here in the code and in the database. First of all, obviously I'm going to need a table to store all of the options that we're going to have. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a table that will store it'll have just an option ID and an option name. Then what we're going to do is create another table that will be, because this will be a many-to-many relationship, what we need to do is add a products options reference table. And so that table will just need to have, well, of course it'll have a primary key or an ID, but in addition to that, it's going to have the product ID, and it's going to have the option ID so that we can join those things together. And also what we'll need to do is we need a way to store inventory. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add an inventory column that will be an integer. It'll just keep track of how many are available for each option. And since this is a many-to-many relationship, rather than adding another table with more reference tables, what we're going to do is just in our reference table that we're creating is add an inventory column to that. Then what we're going to do is inside of our products table, I think we should go ahead and just cache. Well, if a product has options, we're going to have cache the total inventory in this table with the products. And then if they don't have options, then they'll just be their straight up inventory. So we're going to add an inventory column to the products table as well. And then what we're going to probably do is also we're going to have a new Boolean where we will store whether or not options are available for this product. Okay? So let me get a drink and let's dive right in with our database migration. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just go to my command line here, or my terminal, And I am in the root of my project. So if I just hit ls here, you can see that I have this generate migration.php file. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run that. So I'm going to type php, then space gen migration, and that will just run this PHP script from command line. Okay, so it has done that, and now if I go back to my project, I will have inside the migrations directory at the very bottom, I'm going to have a new database migration file created. This is where we're going to add all of the changes for our database so that we can store these options. So let's just start out with our options table. And so what I'm going to do is create a variable called table, and we're just going to call this options. The next thing I want to do is create that table. So it's just going to be this create table, and we're going to pass in the table variable so it knows what to call the table. That also takes care of generating the primary key. Every time you run this create table method inside of a model, it will create a primary key of ID. The next thing I want to do here is I'm not sure if we should or shouldn't have timestamps. Yeah, I guess we will have timestamps on this because it's going to have no, not this table. Let's not even put timestamps here. So all we're going to need on this table is a column, and that will get the table name. And then the next thing here we're going to add is we'll just add name for the option name. And then the next thing we're going to do is tell it the type, which will be a varchar or variable character. And then let's give that a size, and we'll just we could do 255, but I don't really think anybody's going to type options that long, so let's just do 155. The next thing I want to do is that possibly is all we need to do for this table. So then let's go ahead and create a new table here, and this table we're going to call this options reference table. Maybe just options references. That's kind of a, maybe we can be a little more descriptive, like product option refs. So product option refs, that'll be a reference table for that. All right, the next thing I want to do is go ahead and create that table because that doesn't exist. So we're going to do create table. We're going to pass in that variable. And then this one, we're going to go ahead and do timestamps. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, add timestamps. And that will be table. You know, I actually, the one thing we do need to do on that options table, so I'm going to go back up here, is we're going to use soft delete on this. So let's go ahead and do add soft delete. And that just gets the table name as well. Okay, so once we have the timestamps, I think then we just need to do a couple columns. So we're going to do add column. And the first column is just going to be our product underscore ID, and that will be an integer. Okay, our next column is going to be the option ID. So you see this table here will actually be our reference table. So this is what makes it possible to have a many-to-many relationship, because we're going to have product ID. Each relationship is going to have its own row in the database. So it's going to have a product ID and an option ID. The next thing we want to do is we want to have that inventory I was telling you about, so that we can store how many are available to purchase. So let's do table, and then we're just going to call that inventory. That will also be an integer. The next thing I want to do is I don't really think we need to soft delete this table. Yeah, let's not soft delete this table. We're just gonna clean that table up if we need to. And then let's add let's add some indexes. And let's just do product ID. We'll do option ID and inventory. So we're gonna add on this table, we're gonna have indexes for all of these. Okay, so I think that's it for the product options reference table. The next thing that we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to, it's probably the only new tables that we need. We're going to need to modify a few other tables. So I'm going to go ahead and set up table again, and this one we're just going to do products. So we're going to modify the products table, and here what we want to do is we're going to do this, add column, and we're going to add a column called has options, and that will be a type of tiny int, I believe. I don't know if that's correct. Let me check that real quick. I'm gonna go to my migration file. So it's just all lowercase, a tiny int like that. And then what I want to do here is we're going to give this a size of 4, and then actually we probably don't need to give it a size, but I want to add this before. Let me look at my database real quick. On the products table, I want to add it before the deleted column. So before deleted. Okay, and then we'll do another column here, and this one we'll do inventory. That will be an integer, and let's give this one a before has options. And let me take a look at my database, see if there's anything else we're going to need here. I believe that would be good for our products table. The other thing that we're going to need to do is in our cart items, our cart items need to store the option that the person chose, so that when we'll know which one they bought, and also so we know how to handle the inventory. All right, so let's go back now, and the next thing we want to do is add to the cart items. But actually first, before we do that, let's do a couple indexes here on the products table. Might be able to get away on that one without doing an index on the has options, but typo here. Okay, so the next table that we need to modify is going to be and I believe this might be the last one until we get going. This is just all I can think of off the top of my head. Let's add a column. This one we're going to add let's see, should we add? Yeah, we'll call this option ID. So this will be an integer, and I'll want to put this before Let me take a look at that table to see where I want to put that in the structure. So here's my structure, the card items. Let's just put it before deleted. All right. Might as well add an index to that as well. And that will be option ID. All right, so I believe that this should work, at least get us started. We may have to add another migration later, and then run that if we need to change or add anything to these tables. So we'll see. This should get us started though. So then what I want to do is I'm going to go actually to the config and open up config.php. And right here I'm going to set this run migrations from browser to true, because I'm on examp or champ or however they pronounce it, and I would need to run this from the browser because I can't SSH into it. The ideal world is on your server you're going to SSH into that. So anyhow, I just need to navigate to the run migrations .php script, and if everything goes right, we should start seeing successes. Okay, we have a problem. That stinks. Let's see, so it created the table, created both tables. Looks like it got to before deleted. See what I did wrong here. All right, so what I'm going to need to do, since that failed, is I'm going to refresh this, and I'm going to delete those two tables that it created, which was this options table and actually let me click here, and we're going to drop the options table, and we're going to drop the product option refs table. It shouldn't have added the migration since it failed. So let's double check that, because we might sometimes when you need to rerun your migrations, if you have an error, you have to delete that migration so you can run it again. So 627, no, it did not add that row. It only adds the row if it completes the migration successfully. So we need to try to fix that. So it failed in this products, and I might have an error for some reason. It didn't like before. So let me try after, see if that works. So let me see. I want to add that after featured. Inventory. I want to add that after featured as well. And then on cart items, I might just have a problem with my after. I thought that worked. I've used that before. So I might have broken that or something. So cart items, this needs to be after quantity. All right, let's run migrations again and see if that fixes it. If it doesn't fix it, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'll just get rid of those before and afters, and then it'll run fine. All right, looks like it finished that migration. So it looks like all successes, no errors here. So something might be up with that before. So let's just make sure. Okay, so in our card items, we have our option ID. Migrations, it added that, so it did finish. So then we have this options table, so we can look at the structure of that. I'm just double checking that everything went through right. And then we had the product options reference table, and that looks right as well. All right, guys. Well, we have our database set up, so now we just need to start putting code together in order to do this. You know, one thing that we probably want to do so that we don't have, just so we don't have anything broken, let's just write another migration real quick, and this one will be super fast. But I'm going to go ahead and add a migration right here, and that will open up a new migration file. And what I want to do here is, and I should have done this in the last one, but for our table, let's go ahead and add default values to our products. So what we're going to do is we're going to just create an SQL. Actually, we don't even need this table here. So SQL is going to equal, somebody's blowing me up on my phone here. All right, so SQL, let's see. We're going to update products, and then we're going to set has options equal to 0. So what that should do, and we're not going to put a where clause, because what I want to do is for all of our products, it's just going, see right here where it says has options, they're all set to null. And so I guess this guy's just going to repeatedly call me. So we're going to set all of these to these has options. Let's see. All of these are going to be set to 0 instead of null. And then I guess on inventory, let's just go ahead and set all these inventories as well so that they're not null. And I'm just going to set them all to 10, but you don't have to do that. So let's see. So I'm going to add another statement here. We'll just say update products. Actually, I think I could just, this is on the same table. I should be able to just add, I think I can add a comma here and do inventory equals 0. So then what I can do is just do this query SQL. So let's see if that works. Go ahead and run migrations again, and no, I had a problem. Maybe this could be just a problem with the framework. Let me check to see if it actually did that. Whoops, I accidentally added all the inventories to 0. No big deal. But that did work. Let me check to make sure migrations, it added that. So 627 didn't add that. Crap. So anyhow, what I'm going to do is manually add that. This is, doesn't look like it. Migration 151. this print color. And that is because, yep, there's actually a problem here with my migration. If you guys have this, I'm going to fix the framework to fix this, but just for this video, I'm going to add this. It's missing the underscore right there. So that's the bug. Let me run that again, and then there we go. So that's that. So now it will add this migration there. So we're good to go on that. So let's go ahead now and take a look at some code. We'll go to admin, and we need to add a place for us to actually add these options, probably on the back end. And what I'm thinking is we'll have a table, kind of like the products table, just to add these things. And then what we'll do is inside of the actual products, if you go into a product, there'll be a check thing to say, does it have options? And if it does, it'll have a new section where you just go through and add the options that are available along with the inventory for that. The other thing we'll need is an inventory. We'll need to add an inventory here as well. So let's see. This is going to be a huge undertaking tonight because we have to touch so much code. It's hard to even know where to begin. So what I think I'll do is let's just begin by doing the CRUD operations for the actual options first. So what we'll need is a new, let me close these migrations. Also, I'm going to check back on the config here. We'll set that to false. And then I'm going to close that down. Close that. I'm actually going to close all of that. So in the models, let's create a new model. And this will be called options.php. We'll just open up our PHP tags here. Dang it. You don't want to close your PHP tags on class. My IDE kind of does that. All right, so then what we're going to do is the first thing you have to do here is declare our namespace. And this namespace is actually, it's in app models. Okay, that's how we do that. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to use, so we can import basically. This is going to extend models, so we just need to use core model. Okay. Then we just need to declare the class, so that will just be class options extends model. All right. So then what we need to do is we need to add, let me just open up another one of these for reference, but I think protected static. So we'll do protected static table, and that will equal options. And then did we do soft delete on this options table? I can't remember. I know we just did the migration, but we did. So we need to do soft delete as well. So protected static soft delete is going to be equal to true. The next thing that we need to do on this is we need to add all of the public properties that are on the table. So let's take a look at that. It's just ID, name, and deleted. So that'd be easy. ID, name, and deleted. Now we want deleted set to 0 by default, so that when it creates these rows, that will be set. All right, so I think that actually should be all we need for right now on that model. So then what we need to do is let's add a new area, and maybe let's do it underneath products, I think. So let's go to our menu ACL, and actually this is the admin menu ACL, and underneath products, probably the view products. I'm going to change mine up a little bit. I'm going to move this up here, and underneath the separator I'm going to add my options, and this will go to admin products / options. Okay, so let's try that out. Refresh. I don't actually have a separator there. Maybe I misspelled this. I can't seem to spell separator, I guess, sometimes. Yeah, there we go. I was missing, I had an E instead of an A there. I do that all the time, so I knew that was what my problem was. So now I actually have a separator there. And then this options will take us here. It does give us an error right now because we haven't created the actual options action. So let's do that real quick. So I can close this admin menu ACL, and we go to the controllers, and we're going to go to admin products controller, and this is where we need to add the actually add the new action. So just down here on the bottom, I'm going to create a new function, and this will be options action. Kind of hard to say, options action, and then we'll have a view for this, so we're just going to put this view render, and then there will be admin products options. Okay. All right. Let's see if I need anything else out of the gate to get that going. Probably not. Yeah. So let's see. Refresh. Now it got us to the next part. It says we don't have the view, so we need to add the view. So that was in the admin products. We need to add a new file called options.php, and let's see. I'm going to grab everything out of this index.php and start from there, just so we're not starting from scratch on everything here. So this is actually going to be broken, and that's fine. All right, so we have the table. I'm just going to throw a few things here. We don't need too much in this table. I'll put the ID just I don't know why, just for fun. And then we'll put name. I mean this is going to be a super small table. Get rid of that. And then let's see. We need to go ahead and pass down to the view the options that are available, and so that we've already got our options model, but what we need to do is we need to go ahead and import that up here so we can use it. So what I'm going to do is, actually I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I'm going to use groups here. So we have products, product images, users, brands, and then now we need options. I can get rid of this line. Okay. And I can also clean up this up here as well. So we need the controller And this only works on PHP 7, by the way, so don't try to do this if you're on an older version of PHP 7. You just need to leave it on separate lines. But with PHP 7, it does let us do groups for the imports here. Okay, so now that we have options here, we can go down here to our options action, and let's just, for now, let's just say this view options is equal to, and we're just going to do options find, and this find, I think the only thing we're going to need to do here is we're going to do order, and let's order that thing by name. I'm missing my second colon there. So now let's refresh this. Well, this is going to be a bunch of errors, so I'm not even going to worry about refreshing that yet. So let's go back to the options.php. So now in our for each loop, instead of each product, we now have options. So we'll just do options as option, and then here we'll do option. For the first one was option ID, and then this one was option name. And then we don't need this table data. Let's see, we have a few things here. There's edit and delete. We'll need those. We don't need this. So we'll just leave these two buttons here for now. I'm not gonna we're not gonna, let's see, get rid of this JavaScript function. We don't need that. The delete one we might as well keep here, but we'll change this to delete option. And change it right here. Now obviously this isn't going to work yet because we don't have that set up yet, but we will. Product. So I need to change this to option ID, and also this to option ID. So let's refresh now and just see if we have, make sure this isn't broken. Of course, I'm going to have some typos because that's just how I roll. Line 9. This options, and that's because I have that like that. All right, so we have our table. Let's see. I think I want to. Let me take a look at this. I'll copy all of this from the brands. And then need one more closing div down here. Let's see if that looks any better. There we go. Obviously we don't want that to say brands though. So say product options, and this add new brand, let's just say add new option. All right. Of course, this will end up being a link. We're just going to make this real easy on ourselves. So, actually, get rid of this. Get rid of all of this. Oops. And then we just need our href, and that will be project root, and then we'll go to the admin products / what we call that action. We'll do edit option, and then we'll do / new there. Okay, so that won't work yet, obviously. But now we have this, and that should, yep. Okay, so let's go ahead now and let's see. I guess we'll go ahead and continue on with this. So let's add the new right here, edit option new. That's going to be real easy. We just need to go to admin products, and we're going to have a new action here called, what do we say, edit option. And that's an action, so edit option action. And then we're going to pass in ID here. And then what we're going to do is create a new object. So what I want to do, we're going to say option, and then we're going to use a ternary here, and that's going to equal if ID is equal to new, then we're just going to return a new options. Else, well, dang it. Else what we want to do is do options find by ID, and here what we'll do is just pass in the integer of that ID. Okay. The next thing we want to do is we'll do option assign, and what we want to assign here is name. And you know what, we don't even need to do the assign here, so we're just going to say option name is equal to, actually we don't need to do any of that just yet. Let's just do this view option is equal to option. All right. The next thing that I want to do is, let's assume that this is a form that's posted here. And so we'll just say if this request is post. So if it's posted, then what we'll do is we're going to say option name is equal to this request get name, and then actually we're going to do this request CSRF check to protect against cross-site request forgery. All right. The next thing that I want to do is we're going to attempt to save. So option save. I'm going to wrap all of that inside of an if statement. What's up, JJ? Nice to see you here, buddy. We're doing options and inventory now. What we're working on. It's going to be a complex. This is going to be a big feature set. It's not going to be easy. So option save. So if the option saves, then what we're going to do is let's just do session session add message, and the message that I want to add, let me see if I have another example of this. Yeah, it'll be success. And then what we're going to do is put option created. And then we'll do router redirect. And let's just redirect to admin products / options. Okay. So we need to add a little bit of validation here, and what we're going to want to do is make sure that the name is not empty and that also that it's unique, because you don't want two options with the same name. That'll just cause problems. So what we need to do there is go back to our options class here, and we just need to add just a few things here. So we're going to do public validator, and that's function. So this will get called on the onSave method. And let's see, we're going to use core validators. Let me find those real quick. We're going to need to use, a group here, and we're just going to use required and unique. Oops, so it's required validator and unique validator. Okay. Let me just refresh my memory here on how this works. We're looking, well, not cards. Look at the products one. Oh yeah, we need to use the run validation method. And it gets a field and a message. Okay, so that's really easy. So this run validation, and we'll pass in new, and this one's going to be the required validator. So the first param there is going to be this The second parameter will be an array, and that'll be field. So the field will be name and message. So if they don't supply a name for this, then we're just going to say option name is required. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is validate. So run validation, and we're going to validate the new unique validator, and that gets past this, and then an array as well. And the field here is actually going to be an array, and that will be unique by name and then deleted. So we want to make sure that it's not, since we use soft delete, we want to make sure that if they delete it, they can add another one called the same thing. So that's basically why we're doing that. And then the message, that will be that option already exists. All right, that should honestly be all we have to do there. Now we don't actually have our form yet, but now we should have our backend done to actually add this form. So we should have a really easy example of somewhere to find that. So Fabian says, I need your help. I've not been able to create a menu with multiple levels. I don't know if that's anything I can go into tonight. I'm assuming you mean multiple levels, like beyond this 2 levels, so like a 3 drop down or 4 drop downs deep and stuff like that. In order to do that, you'd have to modify the functions that build it. So you just have to, like, basically in the for each loop through that stuff. I might be able to create a different video that's more really about the framework than it is about this project, though. So yeah, we're not gonna be able to really touch on that tonight because that's pretty complex. So I might have to just do a separate video on that. All right, so we have this edit options action. Let's go now, and what we need to do is add that form. So inside the views, let's see, admin products. I actually need to render a view here, so this view render, and that will be admin products / edit option, I guess. So let's go now, and inside this admin products, let's add a new file called edit options.php, and I'm going to find another form that's easy. So let's find, let's just copy our register. Copy this. This is short and sweet. So this is our register form. I'm just going to copy that. Inside of edit options, we'll paste that. Doesn't look like we need anything in this head right here, so I can get rid of that. This form is going to be super simple. We can get rid of actually pretty much all of these. Yeah, Fabian, Denise has a good point. If it's a bug, first I would just I would look at my source code in the framework, and I'd also look at my source code in this. But we did, I can't remember what video it was, but we did fix that menu bug, if that's what you're talking about. But either you're talking about that menu bug and we fixed that in a video, and I think, I can't remember what that is, but essentially, you know, you shouldn't really have a hard time fixing that if you look at that video. So then this input, we're just gonna put option name here. Option name. And then the name and the ID of that will just be name. And then the value will be this option name. So I do need display errors here. And I'm just going to shorten that to errors, this errors. I don't know why. So let's go now to the controller. I'm going to change this to save as well. This right here we can actually update as well. So let's actually add that in the controller. So we're going to do this header. So we'll need to add this header and the errors. So back in the admin products controller, this should be fairly straightforward. We'll do this view header, and that's going to be equal to a ternary, and we're going to say if this ID is equal to new, then we're just going to say add option, actually add product option, else let's just do edit product option. The other thing that we needed was errors, so this view errors, and that's going to be equal to option get error messages. So let's refresh. Admin products edit option does not exist, and it doesn't because it is plural. And I need to wait, I do want that to be single. So 1 second there. I just need to rename this. Rename that to edit option. Oops. Refresh. Alright, so add product option. We have our product name here. If we try to save that, it says option name is required. So let's add an option name. I'm just going to do SM for small. And boom, it took us back, and we have this table with our deal here. Now, let's see if this worked. Oops, that did not work. So let's look at that real quick. On the options.php, we need to go to edit option ID. So let's see if that works now. So that does, let's try to save it. Let's change this to medium. Okay. Look at our options table now. We have one called medium. I'm actually going to change that back to small, and we'll add a few more of these. We'll save. And up here it says option created. I'm just going to do options saved, so it's more generic if we update. Okay, so now we can start adding all the options that our products might need. So we have small, medium, large, extra large. I might as well make these consistent. So large. This is good testing of the product too. Medium. Small. Let's go ahead and test that. So if I add another one called small, does that option already exist? Let's add a cancel button right here that just takes us back to the options here. So I go to option, edit options. Right here, I'm going to add href here, and this will take us to the project root, and it will take us to admin products /options. And I'm going to give that a class equal to button secondary. And let's try that out. Cancel. Maybe I'll do, instead of secondary, let's try light and see how that looks. And I'll also do a margin right 3. Just give it a little space there. I did not give the space. What did I mess up there? Oh, I have a BR instead of MR. So margin right of 3. I think I'm gonna go back to the secondary. And try margin right of 1. There we go. Okay. So now I have a few options in my database. Now these options, what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to basically use these options, these product options that we have on any, well, I guess we need to finish up our delete thing real quick, but then what we need to do is start being able to add these options to our products so that you know, our products can use them. So let's go ahead and finish up the delete function. So delete options is going to go to a delete option here. We're going to pass in ID. So we need to return a model ID and a message back from the back end. And success. So success, model ID, and message. So let's go ahead now to the admin products controller, and we will go ahead, and this shouldn't be a very difficult action at all. So delete option action, and that will let's see, our ID is going to be equal to this request get ID. And then our option, let me go ahead and scroll up a little bit. Option is going to equal options find by ID. And then, let's see, response, we're going to do response equal to success false. We're going to say if option, then we're going to say option delete and we'll do response success is going to be equal to true. Response message equal to option deleted. Actually, we're going to go ahead and give this a message as well. And we're going to say something went wrong. And then our response model ID. Let me see if that was, yeah, it's an underscore. So response model ID is going to be equal to option. Actually, we'll just pass down ID there. All right. The last thing we need to do here is we need to respond to this JSON response, and we'll pass in that response array there. So let's see if we have any. I'm gonna refresh there. Let's go ahead and add a new one that I'm just gonna call delete me, because I'm gonna purposely delete this one. So delete me, hit save. Let's add another one. Delete me too. Let's add a bunch of junk to our database. And how about ASDF? All right, so now if I go and say delete me, that didn't do anything, so let's see what's going on there. It's always good to open our console when we're working with JavaScript. Delete options is not defined. Yep. Just need to remove that S right there. Let's refresh. All right, so now let's try to delete this one. Are you sure you want to delete this option? It cannot be reversed. Okay. Option deleted. Delete all these. So now if I go to my database and refresh, those three are in the database, but they have a soft delete value of 1. So JJ, these options will be whatever you need them to be. So you guys can make these as colors, or you can make them sizes, you can make them whatever you want. All right. What I will say is there won't be, I'm not going to do a thing where there's multiple options where you have like a bunch of different colors and a bunch of different sizes. What I would recommend in that case is for each color, or like let's say you had a pair of shoes, what you would do is add a new product for each of the shoes, the variations on the shoes, and then the options would be the sizes that were available for those. That's how I would handle that. But yeah, I could just instead of saying small, medium, large, whatever, I could have done red, orange, black, green, or whatever here. That doesn't matter. So the way that I'm setting this up is hopefully these options can be used with any product type, basically. All right. Man, my back is killing me. Let's see if I can rearrange my chair a little bit. All right, now I'm up a little higher. Make sure I'm still a little bit off the screen. Let me lower just a little bit here. There you go. Good enough. Oh, I'm so uncomfortable. Okay. Bobby says if you insert a value that is already deleted, yeah, essentially that'll work because of how we did our validation. So if I want to add a new option, again, called delete me, it adds it, but if I look in the database, that will actually be, it doesn't look at this delete me that's been deleted. It just adds a new row with a new ID. So that's kind of the functionality that I want there. And that's because if we do this later on, we probably want our references to be different. So I don't think, yeah, I think this is probably the best way to do that. But we could, if we need to do something special, we could actually search the deleted ones and just undelete them as well. But I think this is probably better. This is the way I generally do things. And that works out most of the time very well. So I'm going to delete I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these out of my database here though. All right. So now we have options. Let's see, extra large, large, medium, extra small. Do double XL and triple XL. All right. So now the idea is if we go to our products and we click on view products and we go into one of our products, so I'm going to add, let me go close down some of this stuff. So I'm going to close down some of this, the views I don't need right now. And instead, let's open up our form. So if we look in the admin products and then we go to partials and form, let's add a new checkbox here that will be, we'll be able to know if it has options or not, okay? So let's see. Product is checked. That's featured. Okay. Let's see. Take a look at this real quick. I'm going to add product featured. Where do I want to put this? Maybe we'll just put it right next to featured, like has options. And if it has options, it'll open up a new area for us to add options here. Okay, so let's just do that. I'm going to add right here this featured. Right here, I'm going to actually just duplicate that line. And this will be has options. And this is has options with an underscore for the name. And instead of is checked, let's just do has options like that. And then in order for that to work, we need to add this has options to our products model. So let's look for, where's that is checked. So we're basically going to copy this public function is our has options. And here all we're going to do is return this has options equal to 1. Alright, so if I refresh. Oh, yep. So we have to go and modify our model a little bit, and that will be up here to the top. We just need to add a few more things here. So what I'm going to do about right here, let's create a new line, and I'm going to put comma has options, and that will be by default 0. And then we had another one we added called inventory, so we need to add that here as well. I'm going to set that equal to 0. Okay, so if I refresh, there we go. Now we have has options. All right. So when that is clicked, let's see. This product has options. Let's create a new row. Yeah. And we're going to do this above the file uploads. So let's add div class row. And then we'll have a div the class equal to call 12. Now, I want to hide this row. I want to see something real quick. I think Bootstrap has a right here. So there's that, and if I go and I add hidden, I think, to this, let's see if that works. That doesn't work. Get bootstrap.com. I'm going to search for display property. Yeah, let's see if that. Oh, we can use this. Yeah, sure. Yeah. All right, so what we'll do here is right here in this row, I'm just going to echo out a ternary operator here, and I'm going to say if this product is checked, no, not is checked, I'm sorry, if it has options. So if that's true, then I'm going to add the class D block or whatever. Else, then I want to have the class D none. So close that. So let's see if that works. Okay, so it's not there. If I click has options, that does not update it. That's a bummer. Let me try one thing real quick. If I set has options to 1 by default here. There it is. So I do need that, but I also need to do a JavaScript thing, I guess. Oh, yeah, we're not gonna get this done tonight. Let's see. Let's go to the form.php. I'm gonna add script tag here, and we're gonna target that has options checkbox, and hopefully we can do it on change, and when it changes we can detect. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add an ID to this, and this ID will be let's call this options wrapper. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to say document dot get element by ID, and we're going to find the has options, and we're going to add an event listener of on change. We'll pass that event down to there, and let's just console log that event. I'm going to go ahead and open my console here. Let's refresh. Alright, so that worked. We got the event. The type was change. So if we do event.target.checked is what we want to look for. Alright, so then what we're going to do here is we're going to say if event.target.checked, then we're going to target, what we can do is outside of here, let's just say var wrapper is equal to document.getElement by ID, and we call that options wrapper. So then what we want to do is we're going to say if it's checked, then we're going to say wrapper.classList dot add, what was it? Yeah, I think it's dot add, and we're going to add the class, if it's checked, of D block, and then we're going to remove the class of D none. Okay, else we can just do wrapper.classList add D none and wrapper class list.remove D block. So the question is it better not to use jQuery? I don't care if you use jQuery or not, guys. The framework by default does have jQuery installed, so you can use jQuery if you want. I usually prefer vanilla JavaScript just because I don't use jQuery very often in my day-to-day life, because I work in mainly React, so I'm just kind of more used to raw JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript, but whatever you guys want to do. So this is working. If I click on has options, this shows up. If I turn it off, it closes, and so that's good. The one thing that I want to do there is let's add one more class to this. So other than row, I'm going to add some margin to the bottom. So MB3. Refresh that. There we go. So we can get rid of that console log now. That seems to be working fine. All right. So inside of here, what we want to do is we're going to end up having a, we're going to loop through all of our option references, which we don't have yet, and we'll create an input for each one of those, and have an we'll have an inventory input as well for each one of those. But to start off with, we need a way to just add one, and I'm thinking we could probably just use an Ajax request for this. I don't think we need to, yeah, we'll just use an Ajax request for this as well. Whew. All right, so here we go. Right on, man. I'm glad the framework could help you in your work. That's awesome. That's the goal. Hopefully the framework's getting better and better, and we're gonna have documentation for it very soon. So, all right. So what I want to do is I actually want to, let's see, how do I want to do this? We're gonna have an input where we can add an option. We need a drop down for all of our options that are available. And that we need to remove the ones that it already has. So this is going to be a little bit interesting. So let's start off first with, let's get all of our options. This is interesting. Okay. So let's build, let's see, we're going to need, I don't know if I want to put this in the admin products. Delete image action. Hey guys, my phone is just blowing up on me. I need to call this person back and see if there's an emergency or something. So if you guys can just hold off for like, give me like just a couple minutes to make the phone call, and I'll be right back. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause this, and I will see you guys in just a few seconds. So don't leave, hang out, and I will be right back. All right, sorry about that, guys. I know a few of you dropped off there. I figured that would happen. Anyway, sorry about that. Somebody was just calling me on repeat, like over and over and over. And it's both distracting, and I started getting worried that they might really need to talk to me. But I called them back, and they didn't answer, so that's pretty fun. So I told them I can't talk and to just text me if they need something. So anyways, I do apologize for that, guys, but I just wanted to... I just wanted you guys to, I didn't want to be distracted basically by the phone calls because my phone was just ringing nonstop. So at any rate, no emergency so far as that I know. Okay, so let's see if what I caught up here. Denise says, while waiting, imagine we have a lot of options in the drop down. Yeah, there is something, okay, there's a way to do this, and I just don't know that we have time to work on this or to add this functionality in just yet. But there is a way to add a drop down or a select that has a search in it that will search the database and only return stuff that matches your search. And then you select from that. And I thought about using that at some point. So I don't know if we want to. We could skip that until I figure out how to do that, like off the video. Maybe that's an easy thing to do for the next video. And we could just add these like hard coded into the database for now to add the options. And then when we come back, we can just actually do that. Let me think about that for a second. Because it actually wouldn't be that bad to do that. Because I was actually before I took that phone call, I was actually considering like the thing that was kind of giving me I was thinking a lot was like, yeah, how are we gonna select those options? Because there could be a lot of them. But if we had like a basically you click in it, and then say this was a drop down, you just start searching, you type, and then it pulls it up, and then you can just click it to add it. That wouldn't be a horrible idea. So maybe we'll hold off. Maybe we'll hold off on this. We'll leave this has options thing here. Yeah. So what we're gonna do, let's just put, I'm just gonna put a placeholder here for now. And this is gonna just be put table and multi and select search box here. I think there's a jQuery plugin or something that we can use to do that with. Yeah. So we'll leave that off for now. What we'll do in the meantime is I'm going to add this product. I'm just going to have this checked right here. And then we'll add just manually in our database. We'll assume that we already have that done, because that'd be something we can work on next time. And we'll just get as much of the back end work done that we can. So yeah, that's what we'll do. Steve, I don't know what you missed, because if you just got here, we've been working on options. So we added an options table, and we're just kind of working through everything that needs to happen in order for that to happen. So what I'm going to do, let me grab settlers. All right, I'm just going to pretend like I'm going to add this t-shirt here. So I'm going to add a Catan. Since I got a board game kind of theme going, I'm going to leave that. So Catan t-shirt. The price is going to be $19.99. Oops. List price is going to be $24.99. Shipping is going to be 0. And I'm going to do Catan Studios there. Impress your friends with this amazing t-shirt. That's a stupid description, but whatever. All right. And actually, you know what we'll do? Put that ahead too. All right. We'll add that as a featured product. Well, no, we won't. No featured. And I'll upload a file here. So I see I had downloads, tan shirt. Save that. All right, so let's make sure now, if I go back, here's the Catan t-shirt. I'm gonna edit that. And it does not have edit. Oh, dang it. I gotta add this to, I hate that we had to do this. We didn't have to, I should fix this, but I don't have time right now. Just need to add this checkbox here as well. All right, has options. Why is that in there twice? What is happening here? What did I do? What did I do? Body. What? Oh. Hang on. I'm in the wrong freaking file. A bunch of weird misspellings here too. Yeah, there it is. I pasted it twice somehow. Should have noticed that a little sooner. I was looking at the wrong file again. I fixed this stupid class here. Get rid of this. I don't need that. And also here, once you spell these right, it breaks the appearance of those checkboxes. Alright, so let me look at the products here. And t-shirt. Alright, it did not save the has options. So what we need to do here is in the admin products, probably both. Where's the ad? Right here. we need to say product has options is equal to this request get has options and we'll set that to 1 or 0. Then what I'm going to do is actually copy this and let's save that. Let's see if that updated. Alright, so now it's set to has options equals to 1, which is good. Whoa. So if I open that back up now, and t-shirt, I just want to double check. Okay, so that is checked by default. Okay, so that's all working. We have that. Now what we want to do is I actually want to just go in the database and show you how this is going to work. So in the product option references, we need to look for the ID of this. So it's Catan t-shirt, so it's ID of 14. And then our options, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, and 10. So what we're going to do here is add product option references. I'm going to insert some of these, and we're just going to have, what's today's date? 28th. I don't really care about this part here, but whatever. So the product ID here was, let's see, that was, I forgot already. Dang it. I can figure this out though. Tan t-shirt. 14. So the product ID was 14, and then the option ID was 1, and then let's say we have 3 of those. And then we'll just add, a couple more here. So 14, 2, we have, let's say we have 1 of those left. All right. And let's see. Three, 4, 9, and 10. Okay. So 14, 3. Just do random numbers here, guys. 14, 4, 5 of those. And then we'll do 14, 9. And let's just say we have 1 of these. 14, 10. And we just have maybe 2 of these or something. Okay, so the way that this should work is now we have these rows, and we have a row for each option for each product, and then we have an inventory of how many of those are available. Okay, you're very welcome, Ashkan. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but you're very welcome. Thank you for being appreciative and having some gratitude. So many people are just like mad that I don't have that. So, all right. So now that we have those, what we need to do is let's work on the front end. So if I actually go, let's find that product. It's right here. So what I want to be able to do is if there's options, then we need to show those options here before we add it to the shopping cart. Let's go to the view and toggle soft wrap. Oh, yeah. I don't even, let me see if I even have, I don't even know if I have, let's see, preferences. Let's see if I can turn soft wrap on. Editor. All right. Let's see. There we go. Now soft wrap's on. I usually don't like that, but so if it makes it easier on the video and it makes it easier for us to see, we'll just turn soft wraps on. Okay. Good suggestion, Denise. And I would have avoided missing the where I double copied that. All right, so right here, if this has options, we need to display that drop down there. So this was in product details in 14. So let's go there, products, and this is the details action right here. So we need that open. I'm gonna close some of this other stuff. We might open some of it back up, but we have the products controller here, and then we have go down to products, and here's our details page right here. So we'll need to add a select box here, but first we need to get those options. So let's create a new, well, first and foremost, let's do this. We're going to say if product has options, then we're going to pass this view I'm going to do this a little bit different. Otherwise, I'm going to end up with an error. So I'm going to say this view options, and that's going to be, we'll do a ternary, and we're going to say if not this, or I'm sorry, if not product has options. Jeez, I can't type. We're just going to return an empty array. If else, what we want to do is let's create a new, in the products model, let's create a new, actually, you know what? We're just going to do it this way. Product get options. Okay. That'll probably be good for that. So then we just need to open up our products model, and we're going to add, let's add it right here underneath this has options. Let's do a public function get options. And the first line, what we'll do is we're just going to say if this has, or let's say if not this has options, let's just, if it doesn't have options, let's just return an empty array there. Else what we want to do is we want to find all these. Now this is going to take a join. We're going to have to join some stuff here. Okay, so what we'll do, let's just create a SQL statement, And what we're going to do is say select let's select options.id, options.name, and then the last thing we're going to need is refs.inventory. Okay. Why did it do that? Stupid editor. Okay. And then we're going to select that from options, and then we're going to join product options refs. Let me make sure I got that right. No plural. So product option refs as refs on. Now this, we're going to join this on. So it'll be options dot ID is equal to refs dot option ID, and then we're going to say where where refs dot product ID is equal to, and we'll bind that on there. And then we're also going to say and we only want to return options that have more than, like, they actually have inventory. So we're going to say and refs dot inventory is greater than 0. Okay, so then what we can do is, let's just do db equals db actually, I think I can just do this underscore db. I think I can do that. This underscore db query, and we're going to pass in SQL, and then for the bound array we're just going to pass in this ID, because we're in the product. So the product ID that we need to bind is this ID, because we are in the product model. Okay, so that we can just return that. So then this get options, actually before I do that, before we return this, I'm just going to say options is equal to that, and then we're going to do an h dump and die options. So let's just take a look at what we get here. So let's see how this works, if it does work at all. Refresh. Accessing a static property DB as non-static. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to do DB get instance. All right, so we have, let's see, it looks like we have 7 here. So ID is 1. Name is small, inventory is 3. I want to double check. Yeah, this is right. So we have the option ID, we have the name, and we have the amount in the inventory for each one. So this looks good. This is the object that we do want to return here. Okay. So that worked out fine. What I'm going to do here is just, we don't need to set this. Well, yeah, let's just return this. That's fine. And we get rid of this dump and die. And then our products controller, we should now have the get options. And we don't even actually need this ternary anymore because of the way that we wrote that. So it's just product get options. That's fine. So then inside of our details, what we want to do here is we're going to create a new, let's see where we're at here. Over here, we want to create a new area. So let's do it right below price. Right here. This is going to be a div, and let's do call, class equals call 12. And then here, this can be just a drop down. So what we're going to do here is a select yeah, let's just do it this way. Let's add a select. And then we'll do name is equal to option ID. ID is also, let's just make that also equal to option ID. And then we're going to do class. This will be form control and form control small. I think it doesn't matter. So then what we want to do is I'm going to add an option here. And we're going to say choose option. And then what we want to do is for each of our options, we're going to do a PHP for each. So for each this options as option. Skip down a few lines here. We'll say end for each. And for each one of those, we want to add an option. All right. And then here, we're going to echo out option name. And then I'm going to put some parentheses here, and we'll do available And what I want to do here is echo out option inventory. And then the last thing we need is for our value, this needs to be option ID. Refresh. All right, so we have this choose option, and that's something's wrong there. This options, product get options. Oops, yep. I need to return results right here. There we go. So now we have our options right here. Small, medium, large, extra large, XXL, and XXXL. And then it has the available inventory right there. 6 available, 1 available, 2 available. Let's see. Sizing, form control small. So I think instead of a 12 there, I think we'll do 6, and then also I'm going to do an MT2 and an MB2 maybe. All right, so then we only want this thing to show up, this options. We only want this to show up if the product has options. So let's go now, and this whole thing right here, we can just do a PHP if statement, and we're just gonna say if this product has options, if that's the case, then we want to go ahead and have that in the layout. All right, so now let's just check another. Let's see. I go here. Okay, so it's not there on Catan. But it is here if there is an option. Okay, so now that we have that, what we need to do is we need to do a little bit of validation, and this validation is going to be a little bit unique. So basically we only want to validate that there is an option ID if there's options. So let's go ahead now and look at our validators inside the let's see, this wouldn't be inside the products, this would actually be inside the cart, maybe the cart items. Let me look at what happens, refresh my memory here. This add to cart So products, let's look for that add to cart. What was that? Is in the cart controller, not here. So I need to look in the cart controller, and we have the add to cart right here. So cart items, add. So let's pull up cart items. Okay, yeah, I was right. It is in cart items. We don't currently have any validation going on. So what we need to do here is we're going to say public function validator. And we want to do this. We want to say if let's see. I don't really want to grab the product at the very beginning of this inside of validations. Maybe we'll do, instead of adding it says validator here, we'll add it right here. We're going to say, so if product validate to make sure there is an option selected if necessary. So then what we'll do, I'm not really sure how I want to do this actually. Sorry guys, give me a second to look at this. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I know how I want to do this now. We're going to add it to the cart item. All right, so not a big deal. What we'll do here is we're going to say if product has options, then we need to validate that it has. So we'll say this this run validation, pass in this, or I'm sorry, new. We need to add the validator first, actually. Use core validators, and all we need here is the required validator. So we're going to say new required validator. We'll pass this into it. And then for field, we're going to add a third property here called option ID, and we're going to set that equal to null by default, or maybe not null. Let's do false. All right, so field will be option ID, which, let's see if we added that to the card items. We did. So we need to add it up here as well. So we're going to say option ID crap. We can't do this here. Item run validation. Item message. You must choose an option. Okay. Option ID. So right here, all we need to do is say item option ID. Gosh, man, we gotta pass this. We gotta pass this down to this too. Man, okay. I know why I'm struggling with this. It's because this isn't gonna like happen on the on save. We probably need to just like check if this option ID is null. And if it's null, we need to just add an error message to this thing. So we need to, let's update this a little bit too. We'll say and option ID, and I'm going to bind that on. And then we need to bind option ID here. Okay. And then this if not item, then we just need to also add that here. Okay. Those add product to cart is we need to has options. We need to check in here if it has options, and we need to find some way to invalidate this. And so maybe what we'll do is instead we'll say if product has options and empty option ID, then we'll just say item add error message. So I don't think we need this, but I think we need to do, I need to look at that model real quick. So core model, and I'm looking for add error message. So it gets the key first and then field and then the message. Okay, the field first, so that was option ID, and then the message was must choose an option. So what's going to happen here, it's going to be a little bit broken, because what's going to happen is we're going to try to add it without an option. It's going to come in here, and then what it's going to do is going to find a product. As long as the product exists, it's going to look for this item. Now this item is going to look to see if that's already in the shopping cart. If it's already in the shopping cart, then it's already has an option item. So let's skip that. So if it doesn't, it's going to create a shopping cart item, and it's going to go down here to save. So maybe what we do is here in the cart controller, yeah. So here in the cart controller, this item save, this view errors is going to equal to item get error messages. All right, so let's just see if that works now. We're not going to display the error obviously right now, so I'm going to try to click that, and it took us there, but let's see if it added the cart items. It added it without the option ID. Errors equals item get error messages. if empty errors, then we're going to do this. Render cart, add to cart. Let's look at what that is real quick. Cart, add to cart. Else we want to, oh, here's what we'll do. Session add message danger, you must choose an option, and then we'll do router redirect, and we're going to go to products, details, product ID. I need to make sure session and router, yep, session and router are there. I don't need to do this. All right, let's try that again. I'm going to delete that. And let's go back to home. There we go. So we didn't choose an option. Now it says you must choose an option. I choose small. That didn't work. Why not? Oh, I know why. Because we need to pass that along. So this add to cart action, let's see. This needs to be option ID. Oh man. I knew this is going to be this is going to be so crazy. So what we probably need to do is, right now the way this works is when we click this, it actually just sends us to that action and then redirects us. What we probably need to do is turn this into a form and then post that there. So this just becomes a submit button at that point, and then we'll just submit the product ID. All right, so that shouldn't be too difficult. So all we have to do in order to do that is here in the details. I'm just gonna wrap this. Let's see. I don't need to wrap much at all. In fact, what we'll probably do is just right here, this add to cart button. Let's just create a form right here. And the action on the form is going to be this. And then we'll do method post. And then let's see, close that form there. And we actually just get rid of this href, and we'll turn this into a button. All right, the other thing we need to do is we just need to add a hidden input. So right here, let's just echo out form helpers, hidden input. And that will be option ID. And we'll just do an empty value for now. Just need to make sure we have form helpers imported. So use core form helpers. All right, and then we'll need to add a script tag, not outside of the end, but inside here. What we'll do here, oh, I don't need to add this hidden input. That's stupid. I just need to move this form opening to above this has options thing. There we go. We don't need script tags either. Then what we can do is this is going to go to the cart controller, and we now are going to be able to pass this add product to cart. So what we'll do here is we're just going to do int, and then this request get option ID, and then what we'll do is this whole thing, we're going to wrap this if this request is post, which it should be. So if that's post, we need to do this request cross-site request forward check. The last thing we need to do probably here is in the cart or in the details page in this form, we need to add right here the form helpers cross-site request forward input. All right, let's try it. You must choose an option. All right, so it appears to work. Let's go here, double check cart items. So what are we missing? Add product to cart. Option ID. All right, so let's start. Let's just start. Let's make sure we do network, preserve log, back. The products details 14. Add to cart 14. It passed the option ID of 1. So that worked. Let's make sure that this request get option ID. Option ID is null. And then find by product ID. We'll create. So we had option ID gets passed in here. All right. What I need to do here is probably a dump and die. Let's make sure option ID exists. Delete this. Fresh. Import H, so it works. All right, so it did pass it there. So what's the problem here? Read down through the code. See if it found an item here. It did find the cart item. What? These are all $30. It said it found. Oh, I see. Right here. So it did. Okay. Actually, this is working already. I just missed this because I only had 25 rows set. This whole time I've been I've just been deleting the wrong ones. So let's delete these. Delete that one as well. Let's go back and get rid of dump and die. Sorry about that, guys. Actually, I think this works. Continue shopping. Let's make sure it didn't add one there. 24. Interesting. I think there actually is a bug here. I delete both of those, go back, I try to add this. Yeah, it adds it with the option ID of 0. It goes through here, it creates it, and then saves it. What we probably need to do, we'll do it this way. I don't know if that's going to be the right way to do it, but I think what the problem is, okay. Maybe what we don't want to do is save here, actually. Okay. That might have fixed the bug. Okay, perfect. Let me try again. I'm gonna see if this increments. I'll stop for a minute and just explain something if this works. I think that was small I chose. And boom, yep. All right, that's working. All right. Denise says I deleted the form instead of the A tag. That's possible. Let me check that out. Details. I sure did. Luckily, Chrome still kind of works without all that. But yeah, good catch. What I'm gonna do here is go home. Make sure other things still work. Check out. Remove. This is interesting. We're gonna have to do some more work on this stuff too, on the quantities and the remove. It might work if there's only one, but if there's a second one, which I'll just have to explain that later, that probably won't work. So yeah, there's still a ton of work to do to get these options working, guys. We got so much to do. Dang it. I was hoping to finish the series off tonight, but you guys are going to be stuck with me for another week. So essentially, what we need to be able to do is we need to separate these products in our shopping cart by options. So basically, this whole thing here, this is going to be an option of small because I have 2 of those. But if I add a medium one, that's going to be a whole nother that'll be a whole nother one that I can remove and add quantity to, like that. So yeah, there's so much to do. Also, the quantities are gonna have to check inventory. We're gonna need to save. Actually, that might not be a problem. Yeah. So I think what we'll do for tonight, I think I'm just going to go ahead and end early tonight. And then I think what's best is for me to, before our next live stream, I'm just going to go ahead and finish this ahead of time to know what the scope of it is. And I think that I'll be able to kind of lead you guys in a better path, because we had to redo some stuff tonight and I made some silly mistakes or whatever. But essentially, this just is a huge undertaking. If we were only doing the options part and not worrying about inventory, that's one thing. But really, if you're when you start adding options, essentially what it is that these are almost new products, and we have to treat them like a whole different product altogether. Um, so yeah, there's a lot to do. Wow, I knew it when I was preparing that there was gonna be a lot to do, but um, yeah. Let's see what Ramen says. I am developing a project. I'm rewriting the whole code base. I would not repeat code as I am using OOP's concept, but I repeated. Yeah. It does take time, man. Like everything you try to build will take time. It takes a lot less time if you have a framework like the one we're using, but yeah, this is just a very complex thing to add into our deal, but I'm happy we're doing it, and I think this will be a good place to end for tonight. And I do think once we get these options, this will be a good place to end the series. And so, at any rate, guys, if you have any other questions, throw them in the comment box. If not, we're just gonna go ahead and end it here for the night. It's getting close. I don't have enough time to start and finish anything else. So I think that's where we'll leave off. I'm gonna go ahead and while I'm waiting for you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and add this. Thank you, Denise, for your kind words as always. Robin says, I'm having problems with default URL system. Can you tell me how I can use it wisely? I'm not really sure I understand the question. I mean, we have default URLs set here. And I set it inside the config. So it's going for home and default. I'm not really sure your question. I'm really sorry as far as that goes. Default URL. I would start by just looking at the server object. So there's the super global, the $_server, and dump and die that thing and just look through there and see if there's anything you can use inside of that to do what you're trying to do. Not really sure why, if you're saying that you're rewriting this from scratch without using a framework, I don't really have any suggestions for you, because that's just, I can't answer that just right now. Like, that's like a huge deal. But I would say start by looking at that server global and seeing what you can do there. All right, guys, with the document root always repeated when I define it. I do that here in the index. So the root, this is in the root of my project, and this only works if that is the case. But I define root, and then I use this dir name file, and that actually sets up this root. Oh, I'm not even showing you my screen. So right here, I'm in the index.php. This is in the root of my project. So I'm using the dir name file to find that. And that's what sets the actual project root. If you're having anything if you have anything that's repeating, you might have some weird server setup that you need to look into. It might, I don't know if you're using LAMP or WAMP or XAMPP or your own thing, but that actually might be a server configuration issue now that I'm thinking of it. So look into your server configuration. All right, guys. With that, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and share this with other people. And I will see you guys next week.